So I've been teaching for 17 years in California, and when I started teaching, I really had no guidance, so I was taught the way I had been taught as a student. About 10 years ago, I started really looking into better instructional practices and focusing on student engagement, focusing on effective checking for understanding strategies so that I would know which students understood, which students needed more explanation, and giving opportunities for kids to interact with one another about the content. So I have some practices that I see continuing in my instruction after this conference. However, there are some strengths to the debate style model that are new to me. And so I feel like this approach to providing instructional opportunities at a common core level is something new and very exciting to me, and something that I would like to see implemented in classrooms. For me, there needs to be a balance between instructional models where a teacher is providing information and an instructional model where the students are really digging into concept and discussing and debating their ideas. I mean, that's what the mathematical practices require. And so I see this as another awesome tool in any teacher's tool belt to really be an effective instructor.
Can you tell me about the flaws in the basic standards of geometry?
The 1997 standards by themselves are a pretty good set of standards. The weakness has come in through the assessment, and an assessment that's driven exclusively by multiple choice questions is a weakness. So you have students facing a bank of questions. Some of the students have really no entry point to the majority of the questions, so it's just very defeating for them to try to take a test that they are not prepared for. Other students are working above that level, and the test really doesn't even provide a teacher with information on if the student is below grade level, how, where and how, and or above grade level. So there's just so many weaknesses inherent in our old assessment system that you can't even really tell how effective your instruction is or your program is at a school. So I'm excited about the new assessment system because I think parents and students and teachers will have a better bead on what kids are learning and what instructional practices are effective, what curriculum what's working and what's not working.
And what is the teacher's role in this classroom setting, this new classroom setting?
In the debate style model
Yes.
of a lesson, the teacher is really the guide on the side, which is not an insignificant role at all. There's a great deal of leadership needed and experience needed, I think, to implement this model effectively. It is not the case that the teacher is sitting on the sidelines and kind of letting the students take charge of the classroom. Although that's what's happening on the surface level, there's a much deeper structure that the teacher is supporting and putting in place and managing. And clearly the students, as they grow in this model, become better at managing that structure themselves also, and that's very empowering for students to do that. But the final product, the conclusion that the students arrive at, the teacher validates or doesn't validate. And so the role of the teacher is very different, but still critically important.
And based on your attendance at this event, what changes have you seen in these students in comparison to others who are just taking the standard curriculum?
I am seeing students who, both right and wrong, are willing to stand on their opinions. And I see a value in that development of leadership skills, of a willingness to state an opinion out loud that other people might agree with or they might disagree with, and having the self-confidence to do that. The way the structure of the lesson goes, a student has time to reflect individually, kind of think through their own ideas. Then they have an opportunity to talk with an elbow partner about it, which is a small group, a safer place to try out my ideas and develop a little more confidence with them. And both of those things happen before a student even has the opportunity to share their ideas out with the larger group. So there's an opportunity to build confidence that's built into the structure of this model that I think is going to be very effective. I've seen the effect that it has on the students in the classrooms that I've observed. And I think that confidence and that ability to listen and to speak, to present their own ideas and to critique the ideas of their classmates is something that is going to benefit them not just in their math classroom but beyond their math classroom and beyond the walls of a school and beyond a K-12 education.
And can you tell me how this new style in this classroom focuses more than just math?
Another element of the Common Core standards are anchor standards for literacy, and those anchor standards cover every content area. And, a fundamental goal of the Common Core standards is to prepare all students for college and career. And this ability to engage in discourse, to agree and to disagree civilly with other members of a group is foundational to being a member of a democratic society. There will always be agreement and disagreement over candidates in an election, over bills, over propositions, and having individuals with strong, developed capacity in those areas is only going to make the democratic process more effective in our nation.
You think that this new style can and has the potential to change our school structure in our nation?
I do. I think the ability to develop an electorate who are able to think through at a deeper level the issues behind the propositions on which they're voting has the potential to create a better informed population.
And how would this class affect the involvement of each and every student in that particular classroom in comparison to other classes, say, for example, English or history?
I am not convinced that elements of this model couldn't be implemented in other content areas as well. I think geometry really lends itself to a debate style discussion because so much of geometry is bound in logic, but I see huge areas, opportunities for the use of logic in other content areas as well. So I think this is something that might start in a math classroom and might even spread into other content areas within the K-12 setting.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. We're going to use those. Yeah.
Hopefully not very much. Like I said, I don't like being on camera, but I'm happy to help. I really like it.